This is a video on the steps in hypothesis testing. I'm just going to tell you what the 5 basic steps are in performing a statistical test. So these steps are crucial, especially if you're going to do it manually. But at the end of any statistical analysis, when you get the results, a computer software would have done all these 5 steps to give you the report. So the first step is to identify the definition of the test. So in step 1, you recognize the definition of the test. So in other words, you have to identify what H1 is, what H0 is. You can usually identify the definition by identifying the claim. Can be identified by understanding the claim and the parameter involved in the claim. It's either a parameter or parameters involved in the claim. And step 2 is to find alpha, and alpha is usually 0.05, 0.01 or 0.1. So alpha is known as the level of significance, and if you know the level of significance, you can do 100 times 1 minus alpha percent to find the level of confidence. Step 3, you find the test statistic. The test statistic is just a formula. It's going to vary from one test to another, but you just have to refer to the textbook to use the right formula. And step 4 is to identify the distribution of the test statistic and its parameters. So if you can identify the distribution of the test statistic, then you know what function to use on a calculator, you know what function to use in manual calculation, so this step is crucial. So you have to find the distribution of the test statistic and its parameters. Every statistical test will specify what the distribution of the test statistic is. And the very last step is the conclusion. And there are 2 ways to obtain the conclusion. So the first approach is the critical value approach. The second approach is the p-value approach. In the critical value approach, you would find the rejection regions or region by finding critical values. Critical values are quantiles. And if you're going to use a calculator, you will make use of inverse functions. Use quantile functions, which are nothing but inverse functions on calculator or software. If you're going to find or use the p-value method to obtain a conclusion, then you'd have to calculate the p-value. Now keep in mind, p-value is a probability. How do we find probability? Probability is found by calculating the area under the curve. So we would make use of cumulative distribution functions or CDFs in short, to find p-values. So these are the 5 steps used in a statistical test. These are generic steps that can be used for almost any test. Any statistical test will have the same 5 steps repeated. What's going to change is the definition, the way you write the definition, the formula for the test statistic, the distribution of the test statistic, and so forth. But the generic procedure behind the test will never change, it will remain the same, and these are those 5 steps. Thank you for watching the video.